up, y'all? Welcome to the Jimmy Dukes podcast. Yes, we have dropped the gaming, the rebrand, first episode on the channel for Jimmy Dukes podcast. Appreciate you guys coming back and keeping up. But today we are on location at Groth Industries in Chaparral, New Mexico.
Welcome.
Here joined with some gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Good.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me out. I know that we've been talking about this for a little bit of time. You guys have been running and going for some time now, so it made sense to come out here and talk to you guys about what you guys got going on, all the challenges and all the different things going on, man. So I appreciate y'all.
No, thanks for coming out, Jimmy. You know, it has been a long time coming for sure.
Yeah, man. I know we talked about it last year during the holidays. You guys were getting going already, but you guys are already been going, what, 7-8 months?
7
Yep.
months.
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
October. So
Nice, man. So before we start here, man, I got a bunch of questions for you guys. But before we get started, make sure you guys drop those comments, say what's up in the YouTube side. If you're on Spotify, thank you guys for jumping on Spotify and iTunes, all that good stuff. You know, this is everywhere. But without further ado, we're going to introduce each person. So starting here, your name and your title, sir.
I'm Matt Groth, and I'm a co-owner here at Groth Industries.
And then I'm Mark Ladder. I'm the head of operations as well as the master grower here at Groth Industries.
Mike Groth. I'm a co-owner here as well at Groth Industries.
Nice. So Groth Industries, I know that I've known Mike and Matt for years.
Yes.
Through our mutual friend, Adrian. Shout out to Adrian.
Yeah.
But I remember you guys were, right? I know you guys were kicking around this idea for like the longest time, right?
Long time, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes back a decade. Me and Matt, we were talking about getting into the medical side of it first.
Right.
There's a lot of hoops to jump through on that. I mean, there was so many requirements that it was way difficult for someone just to start out to do that side of it. That we kind of got stopped in that feature, and life went on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I know that you guys, when you guys first told me the name, I think we're at Adrian's house, and I was like, God damn it, that is fucking perfect. I was like, how can you come up with some better name than that for this industry, man? But what inspired you guys to open the shop? I mean, to start going into it for you guys that are brothers. What inspired you guys to want to jump into this industry, and why?
Well, I think that this industry, for me, it's more on like a medical type adventure. I think cannabis has a ton of benefits, and I think a lot of that stuff has been, stomped on, and a lot of people they look at the industry like it's like a drug dealer, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's not the case at all. There are all types of walks of life that come in through here, all the way from law enforcement to judges and all that. Everybody needs it sometimes, and just depending on what it is that they need to for a peace of mind.
Yeah. And I like that too, because that's like a big misconception with cannabis. Automatically, everybody thinks of, drug dealers and things like that and stuff like that. But there is a lot of benefits in different ways that people take advantage of, the plant and things like that. But when you guys were first coming up with the idea, like how did it spawn up? Because I love hearing when an idea pops up. Like, how did that come up? Were you guys just bullshitting, or just kind of like?
Yeah, I think probably just in conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in our last name, right? So, a decade ago when we started doing the medical thing, we kind of looked at it. He had some friends in Denver,
Yeah.
that were doing something similar within the industry, and I think that kind of sparked it in him, and he kind of talked to me. And back then you're going to work 9 to 5, and you're working for somebody, and you kind of think, hey, I could probably do this, right? Let me try something.
Yeah.
Well, there was just too many hoops to jump through, as I said, right? So that was squashed. But when the recreational came, boom, it turned that light back on.
Nice.
So we looked back and
Yeah.
said, now we can.
Yeah.
So let's look into it, right? Because we're still doing the same thing. I mean, our background's in construction.
Right.
We've been doing it a long time, and your body gets old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd be digging ditches and putting shit up and see it forever.
So we just kind of reignited that flame, and no pun intended, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
we just kind of wanted to get back into it and see exactly what we needed to do to get it done, what the process was going to be.
And we were able
And-
to
and
find a
look
good
into
place. We were able to find a good place where we could utilize a lot of what was already here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for a lot of people, you guys been living in Chaparral for years, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So that's a cool thing.
We
You
grew
guys
up
are
around
from here,
Yep.
Yep.
opening here, which is dope.
Yep. Went to Chaparral Elementary, went to Chaparral Middle School, and before there was a high school here, bust over the mountain to Gadsden.
Damn.
That's where we graduated from.
That's
So,
sick.
yeah, we're definitely
Homegrown, and
Homegrown.
literally homegrown. Home growth.
that's true.
That's dope, man. So how did the journey go from the idea of opening the doors and then to just like what are all the different hoops that you guys had to jump through? Because obviously, recreational opened up in New Mexico. How long ago?
April
Yep.
21.
Yeah, April of 21.
That's 21.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 years.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so
It is been 4 years.
yeah. So
Holy moly.
whenever it opened up, I know you guys are just saying you guys opened up in October. Like, talk about the journey leading from oh shit we can do it to where like the doors open.
I think I'm gonna need some Tylenol before we talk about this, man. I'll tell you, headache after headache. The stress involved in opening was great
Immense.
deals.
Immense.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very tough. I think the process on the slate, if you look at it, you say, hey, that can be done, right? Then you start diving into it. Hurdle. I ain't no track star.
Yeah. We're talking about getting home and shit. I ain't no jumping no hurdles and shit.
So yeah, so there was definitely a lot there. Right?
Yeah.
So but you just gain gumption. Your foot hits that hurdle, you fall down, you get right back up. Your eyes on the prize, you gotta stay on it, right?
Yeah. So like for example, like Matt, that everybody sees like, oh, I'm gonna just start opening a place and talk about like you don't have to talk about the amount of money, but just all the different things that you guys have to clear through the state. and
No,
things like
yeah,
that.
there's
Everybody thinks like, oh, we can just grow stuff and open up a store. It's just not that easy, right?
not even close. Yeah, it's a challenge because you have certain people that make it extremely difficult for you. For the most part, we didn't have any issues with people in the industry, but there's certain people that we do have issues with, and
Well,
it's not that.
Yeah, the process in place really. The state does want you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The state does back you. They want you to open up, right? And so the state is but there are requirements.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you do inhale, you eat it, whatever, right? So you take it into your body. So there's definitely things that are in place that the state needs you to do. Food handler's card. You have to know that if you're selling this product to somebody,
It's safe.
it's safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a lot. Think about that too, because a lot of people think, oh, just grow weed. Why not roll it up in a joint? Shit like that.
Leaps and bounds from the street pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
that we just use.
Right? Yeah. I remember
Definitely.
seeing those bricks from Juarez from 20 years ago.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But now, like some of the things that I'm not like the biggest advocate of cannabis and stuff like that. I do partake here and there, but learning from people who actually know about the benefits and the process is how I started more respecting it. And looking at it kind of like more of a business sense. And then you guys were gonna open this place up, and I came one of the first days, and I was walking around the facility. I was like, "Holy shit, this is like legit." This is like this
Kind
cool.
of had the same thought when it started coming together.
Because I remember us at a pool party at Adrian's house bullshitting. You guys told me the name,
Yeah.
and here we are sitting in the goddamn lobby. That's fucking sick.
It is.
That is almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was.
Wow.
And I remember having that conversation
Yeah,
next
man.
to the pool table.
Yes,
in the
sir.
garage at Kiddo's
Yep.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's
So-
sick, man. I love when and that's the coolest thing about just I've known you guys for the longest time, and then all of us are inspiring to do shit. And it's cool when you hear something like, I remember when he said that.
Yeah.
I remember when you said that, and you guys fucking are doing it. So it's dope, man. But let's start going and talk some of the products a little bit. You are one of the main people as far as like the product
I
side.
do everything. Yeah,
That's
I
the guy,
grow,
man.
manufacture, make pre-rolls, packaging, absolutely everything. Yeah.
Beast.
A man of many hats.
Yeah, I could relate, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
So I run a no-till living soil, which is not many people will run that. So I would say it's the hardest way to grow. You're dealing with living soil. You know, there's microbes in there. There's you have fungus in there. You have mycorrhiza. You have all these different parts that need to work together to make it happen.
Yeah, there's a
If
legit
not, it's
stuff
not
going
gonna
on
happen.
over here,
Yeah.
man.
So,
So yeah,
So
so
we do pride ourselves in growing, the most organic cannabis that we possibly can, and it comes out good. It smokes white, smokes clean. You always get that drip on your ash. So yeah, we grow
yeah,
some
man,
cannabis.
you're talking a lot of science.
Yeah.
I love it. But what kind of the products do you guys offer, and how do you choose them? Like as
So
far
we
as like
have-
strains and
Yeah,
things
so-
like that. How do you guys go about
So
choosing all that?
I used to own another facility, and we ran a couple genetics there that I tried out, and I ended up contacting somebody who had the same exact genetics that I had ran over there. So we ended up using those same genetics for a little bit, and right now we're kind of in the phase where we kind of want to move on from the genetics that we began with. Matt just bought some genetics from Sea Junkie, some
Yep.
pineapple fruit that we're gonna run.
Right.
He brought me some apple plantain. It was
Yep.
It was apple fritter times banana OG, and then our manager he also bought some Sea Junkie and some Doja Pack genetics, which
Yes.
they're all like high end genetics. So we're extremely like, hyped to start running.
Right.
those.
Yeah, and I like that because one of the biggest things I remember when we're all kind of bullshitting about like what makes you guys different. You guys were trying to. You want peak stuff, right? You don't want
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
everyday stuff that you can get, right?
Yeah, we're
And-
trying to dial in on some of that stuff, and then also like have our customers, our patients or whatnot know what it is that we're the kind of product. that we're
Yeah,
putting
of
out here.
course.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quality over quantity.
Yeah.
is,
Right.
is definitely the name of the game.
Mhm.
So
I love that. And when it comes to the whole growing thing, can you kind of go into the no-till thing? Can you explain to somebody like a Joe Blow of me, like what's that mean and what's like other people are doing around this area that set you guys apart?
So growing no-till, you're basically like creating a forest floor. So you're mimicking what's already happening now in nature, and you just need to add all those different certain amendments that is found in the natural soil. You need to add also your ladybugs and different predators that can control any issues that you can possibly have. Well, I guess to make sure that you never have those issues, any type of mites or anything like that. But you basically you're always using dry amendments. You're never feeding the soil. You're never feeding the plant directly. You're feeding the soil. From there, the plant can uptake anything from the soil. Kind of like if you go to Golden Corral. You go to Golden Corral. You're keeping a steak. You get a steak. You get a pizza.
Mhm.
Once you're full, you can chill back a little bit. And
Yeah.
just relax. You're hungry again. There's food there. You go and you eat it. Whenever you're growing hydroponics, you're feeding the plant straight directly.
What?
So you get a reaction on the plant a lot quicker than you do out of no-till. That's the only thing. So let's say your plant's starting to look a little yellow. You need some nitrogen. So you'll go ahead and pump it up with some liquid nitrogen, whatever nutrients you're using, whatever lines you're using, and you get a reaction within 2 days.
Damn.
Yeah. When you're growing no-till, you really need time for those amendments to like break down, and you need the worms to break them down and digest them and convert them. And you can use like a different glucose to go ahead and get those microbes to start working and start converting those different nutrients. But yeah, it's a mission. It's different.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Like
different.
there's so much time and effort that go into. Can you pull it up a little closer?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh, closer.
There you go.
Yeah, right there. Yeah. And that's the thing too, because you guys grow in-house too, right?
Indoor.
it's all
All of it. All of it.
And then that's what like not a lot of people can do that, right? Because like
indoor no-till is like really like unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really too many people who do it.
And so I mean, obviously all the different things go like, is there a benefit to doing it that way to compare to the other way, or is it just because of the quality is a lot better that you can control the
It's a lot
environment?
It's a lot cleaner. So we're not really using any pesticides. We're not using any like PGRs, which is a plant growth regulator. So basically like hormones that can make the nugs a lot more plump.
What?
Yeah, so
Right.
it's basically like with fruit.
Yeah.
You go to Walmart and you see some big old apples, and it's
Yeah.
like, those apples are like
Like got
freaking-
steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely doesn't look like the neighbor's
Yeah,
apple trees.
right. Shit.
Yeah, or like a homegrown apple is like a small little apple.
Right.
So there is a difference in yields, which is a negative difference. It sucks. We do what we can to get those yields up, but when you're growing hydroponic, you get some crazy yields. But at the end of the day, it's like, do you want to smoke something that has flavor and that gives you a nice entourage effect? or you just want to smoke something that's just gonna get you just high. That's
Yes.
it. Do you want a headache or do you want to feel good?
That's
You know?
great. That's the same thing like I have friends that drink a lot of whiskey. It's like, yeah, you could buy the clear bottle of whiskey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thing, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna get the job done, but the taste and stuff like that and the hangover, it's like cleaner because
Yeah, it's
the
the
way
same-
it's made.
It's the same story. You know?
Yeah.
You have a wine connoisseur.
Yeah.
Right. Or you just have somebody
this
that
wine,
just
you know?
want to, you want to drink a box wine.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
But again, you know, in the cannabis industry, you do have cannabis connoisseurs.
Yeah.
They chase the terpenes. And I
Yeah.
think, believe within the grow that we do,
Yeah, we get like anywhere from like 2% to 3% terpenes, which is really, really high for flower. Yeah,
Nice.
standard, what I've seen is anywhere from like 0.5 to 1.5.
Oh damn, like a point
Yeah.
compared to a whole
0.5
percentage.
1.5% terpenes.
I mean, it's
yeah.
huge. It's huge
Yeah.
because if you think, you know, if you have a mortgage, right? And if you drop it down a point,
Yeah.
it's massive, right?
Yeah.
It's massive. So it is. It's the same kind of story. That 1% is a huge difference.
Yeah. Especially when you're working like that.
But that's not to say that there's like not any good hydroponic cannabis. There's some really, really good hydroponic growers that grow some fire freaking
Yeah.
flower, you know? So it really does boil down to the grower as well too. But you know, usually you tend to see a higher terpene percentage on no-till flower, living soil flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that too, because when I walked around the first time, you guys had just barely getting started, and now that you kind of broke down everything down, and for you guys that didn't know, like there's a science, there's a skill, there's that goes behind it, not than just fucking pour water and
Yeah,
let it glow.
starting facility, I would say it's probably one of the hardest things, especially an indoor facility, because like I said, like you're mimicking the outdoors, so that you need to like make sure your VPD is correct, that your plants are breathing correctly. Because if not, the stomata closes up, which is basically the neck of the plant, and it can't breathe. It's not able to uptake nutrients.
Right.
So your plant will die out.
Fucking
very
blowing
slowly.
my mind right now, dog. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of sciences but when you like, that was a perfect analogy. Like, oh, it just fucking close the air and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna grow as well. It'll probably grow and fall over, and you can still smoke it. But
It's not gonna grow as well.
yeah,
So we had like a kind of rough time in our second grow. It was the first time that we were using that room, but it was the second harvest. Our AC was kind of going off and on. We were kind of trying to fix the AC, kind of trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And the VPD, it just goes all the way up. You know, the room's like 97 degrees. The VPD is like at 1.6, 1.7. So the plant's like freaking out. Not really able to be healthy, you know?
yeah,
So once we dialed that in, you just see the plant like just completely change. Like
Nice.
leaves start to point up. They start to pray to the sky. So it's like,
and you guys are all yeah.
It's a good look. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So now we're going into the, you're talking about growing it locally. You guys are doing it different way, which is cool compared to a lot of places, not in the state, let alone in the area. You know what I mean? So, what are some of the challenges you face entering the cannabis industry? Like, as far as like, were you taking serious, like permits, like how many permits, like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, who's turning to jumping on this one?
So I thought being a general contractor was gonna be like help it out, like be faster.
Yeah.
I was in the same boat as everybody else for the most part,
Yeah.
If not more.
if not
stringent.
worse. Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of we had some negative stuff that was said that about our establishment before we even opened. They were mentioning that it was going to be some trailer park.
Yeah.
I was like, what? A trailer park? And they red tagged the building for that.
Damn.
It was crazy. Yeah. And just to get that cleared up took months.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, because a lot of people don't understand that you going back to there's policies, there's ways to do it. It's not that they don't want you to do it, but they want to make sure you're doing it right.
Right.
A lot of people are trying to find corners and they're going to get
Yeah,
caught.
like
or
cutting the
whatever.
corners all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
sometimes even the public that gives you the issues. Like you need to put up a sign that there's gonna be a dispensary that's gonna be posted up there.
Yeah.
soon. And if the public decides that they don't want you there, they can take it to the court.
Really?
And make like a whole issue
Yeah.
against you.
That's a whole other challenge too
Oh,
in
man,
itself.
It is
It's
huge.
crazy.
I mean, I've been down to the county building several times.
Yeah.
And there's somebody there saying, hey, maybe in the valley or something, hey, this is going up and I want to dispute this. How can I dispute this?
Wow.
And it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which makes sense. It's just like a strip club or a bar, or, same thing.
And you got to see it from the point of view of the generations that
Yeah.
are involved, right? Those generations that are
Yeah, that's true
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
they call
Yeah.
it the devil's lettuce, right?
Mhm.
I mean, if you're a Christian man or a God-fearing man,
Yeah.
you're definitely not going to partake in the devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
So you don't want it across the street from your house. either.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
The devil's lettuce.
So there's the public eye, and then there's also the processes from the county and the state that you got to go through.
Yeah.
I think for us, I think the state side of it went pretty well. We got help
Yeah.
more in the local county.
And then over
Nice.
here,
kind of thing.
Chaparral, the water company, they're so willing to work with cannabis companies.
Yes,
That's not the case, all around New Mexico. There's some water companies that just plain out do not want you to.
Yeah, because you're going to be using a lot of water.
Using all the water, yeah.
Well, and it's a huge cost, obviously.
Yeah.
Huge cost, yeah.
Yeah, because you're legitimate growing from a forest ground inside a building controlled
Yes.
climate. When you say it like that, it sounds so crazy.
Hey, but the state does, they also want you to be able to have a plan. They'll ask you during your licensing, there's a plan. What is your plan how are you going to affect, what is your environmental footprint?
Yeah.
Right. And you have to understand that, we want to be the greenest, basically, right?
Not even what positive effect you'll have on your community, like
Yeah.
a social equity plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to kind of put your thumb on.
Yeah.
And say, hey, state of New Mexico, we're good with this.
Yeah.
And this is what we plan on doing, right? And it's they work with you.
Yeah.
But you just got to make sure that it's going to be. They don't want you pulling more energy than you need.
Yeah, exactly.
And wasting water.
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
So-
Exactly. Just because you could afford it doesn't mean that you can just
Exactly.
blow the thing. And that kind of
Here we have no water.
yeah. That segues me to my next point. Like, how has legalization affected the local economy and the public perception? So I know there's a lot of places that pop up. Like, economy wise, is it good for Chaparral? Is it good for the state? Is it something that that makes sense like that? Economy wise,
I think each and every one of them, it helps the economy in some way, type or with jobs and just education. Because regardless, you got these all the different stores around. People are going to be asking questions, and then that. And then hopefully they're asking the right questions to the right people.
and they're getting the right answers, kind of thing too.
Mhm.
And I like how you guys made that. That was how you said that the medical thing wasn't the big thing, because if you're going to be doing medical stuff, you want to be able to answer that kind of stuff. Like, if I'm feeling this way, what would I need? And Joe Blow that's just behind the counter just slinging pre-rolls, nothing
basically
against some businesses.
Right.
Yeah, they won't know. You know what I mean? So not like I have a lot of friends that are like, yeah, that's kind of like a corner store place. You know what I mean? You guys aren't like just a corner store place.
Right. Yeah. You're not
And
going
there's
to.
nothing wrong with the corner store place.
No,
but
definitely not.
us, more quality. We're educated. We can educate you and things like
Yeah.
that. And that's what I do like. You know what I mean? Like, every time I like to talk when I'm talking to people's journeys and what they're trying to pursue, I'm like, what ticks? Like, what makes you want to do it? Like, what makes you any different than the person next door kind of thing. So I love hearing that kind of stuff.
We can sit here and say we just want to grow some dank ass butt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's one thing of many things that we want to do.
One thing of many things.
Yeah.
right.
But that's another
there's
thing,
definitely,
too.
There's definitely some underlying.
Yeah.
There.
Everybody thinks that if you're in this industry too, that you're extremely wealthy.
Yeah.
And that is not the
Hey
case.
man, I want people that like they see me doing all these videos and shit. Like, hey man, you gotta go. And like I mean I gotta go, but I ain't making as much as you think I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
that's-
time and the effort is there, and like a lot of the time it's like passion projects to get to the point to where you can make a living and things like that, right?
Yeah, it's the tough time. I mean, definitely if you didn't, there's no way that we probably could have got into where we're at, not side hustling it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I use that very loosely, side hustle, because it was a full-time job getting this up and running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of you guys' whatever you guys
Yeah.
family and
Yep. Other businesses,
other
there's all kinds of
businesses
other
and shit
stuff
like
we
that.
got going
Exactly. So, it's not lightly.
Yeah.
You could just jump in here.
Yeah.
And I think there's a misconception. I think when the industry started and you just seen dispensaries popping up
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, when it started, it was aggressive. People
Very
were making,
aggressive.
extreme freaking amounts of money. Pounds were going for $3,000-$4,000 in
Yeah.
the very beginning. People were selling out of pounds. There wasn't enough weed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was crazy. People, there was, there was a few companies that came in and they spent a shitload of money trying to establish themselves here in New Mexico. Turns out the following year wasn't going to be the exact same as the first year.
Uh-huh.
Sales decreased. More players came into the game. So it's like more competition.
Yeah.
And they came in with so much money trying to invest. And it's kind of like they came in too strong,
Yeah.
realizing that the market kind of settled down real quickly the second year and they lost out and they had to close their doors.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a story of like
Yeah.
a lot of different companies.
Yeah, because that's what I remember, like when, and like I said, I just don't know about the laws and how everything works, but I know that they were popping up, and then I know some were closing down or taking forever to open. And I was always asking you guys, what's taking so long? And you're like, there's a lot of things that we got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
man.
And like for you guys to do all the right steps, and you guys are making it like it's not a money grab thing.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people, they jump into industries just because they got the money, they can get in and get out.
Sure.
But you guys are not about that, obviously.
No, I wish I had the money.
I would have never started this shit anyway.
Yeah.
Money like that. That would not be one of the endeavors I would.
No, I mean, if you had just kind of a sack of cash laying around, you didn't have anything to
Yeah.
do with it, you were scared of the stock market,
Yeah.
just open up a weed shop.
Yeah.
And then just dump it in there.
Yeah.
Right? No.
No.
But it's a gamble as well too.
Yeah.
Hard-earned money. And you know
Well,
what I
see,
mean?
that's another thing that we run into too. Like, I mean, we prided on ourselves when we did this is at this facility as a master grow location.
Yeah.
Where we want to bring in some of the best type of quality product, along with the facility being more of a how do I say it?
Like a higher end?
Maybe like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
But we also make sure that, like, for instance, our manager, like, he's extremely educated on
Yeah.
our products, on anything cannabis. So, you ask him
That goes-
anything about any product, and
Yeah.
he'll tell you exactly.
And that's what I kind of like. I like to hear that, and I have a lot of experience in being at, let's say combat sports gyms. You know what I mean? When I know the head coach legit, I know that guy's legit. And then there's another gym that just opened up, and everybody like, yeah, he has a gym, but he's not the
Right.
most legitimate person to be running a gym as far as experience. Yeah, he has the money to open a gym, but you want to learn some shit, you go over here.
Right.
So it's the same thing there.
Yeah,
It's like,
you wanna
yeah,
try-
you can open up a spot, and you know what I mean, you can sell weed and get great products and things like that. But how you guys are taking the time to learn, to
Right.
educate, to handpick the products, and not just like, oh, this is selling, and then fucking put it out front.
and Angel's our go-to guy, and it goes back to that connoisseur, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He definitely is a cannabis connoisseur. He nitpicks the strains.
How do you end up with somebody like that? How do you end up with a guy like Mark, and how do you end up with a guy like him?
Those roads are paved by somebody else.
Yeah.
And we cross roads. And
Yeah.
It just seems to work. I think we got incredibly lucky having Mark with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Lucky just the same with Angel
Yeah.
because I mean his people.
I had
still-
actually, yeah. So I used to own Ganchika Gardens right down the road. I was
Okay.
50% owner there. And Angel, he actually he makes videos on YouTube as well too.
Mhm.
So he does product
Reviews.
he does product
Yeah.
reviews. Yeah. So I had sold some hash rolls over to Feel the Dreams. They had bought my entire lot. I didn't even know Angel. Angel had gone over there to Feel the Dreams, and he had gotten a few different hash rolls, and he had done a review on them. I saw the review on Instagram, and I was like, oh damn, that's pretty cool. Like, somebody fucking made a review on our product.
Hell yeah.
And we didn't have our dispensary open. We were just strictly wholesaling at the time. So we ended up opening our dispensary over here in Chaparral, and he was actually our very first customer.
No
I
shit.
remember I was on the roof putting the fucking Ganchika banner on the roof, freaking,
Yeah.
shit. Come up, and I was like, oh shit, you're the guy from freaking from YouTube.
Yeah.
I was like, give me a second. So I get off the roof and I go in and we're talking, shooting the shit. And that was exactly how I met Angel.
That's so
That's the
dope.
first time how I met Angel.
That's so
Like,
cool.
Ever since then, like, he helped me out at Ganchika, like harvesting and transplanting and doing all this and that. And yeah, I mean, I was like, bro, like, he did that over there for free. Just
Nice.
because he loves cannabis, the
Nice.
cannabis industry in general. So, I mean, he was like the perfect candidate to kind of bring over
Yeah.
here and kind of, start working with them. So I was working with Matt, and he was our GC over there. And that's how we met. And yeah, we freaking built a greenhouse, a big old greenhouse in a week.
Nice.
Big old greenhouse of shit.
Animal.
In 1 week. Yeah.
1 week, bro. So it was just badass. We built a pretty cool friendship. I ended up meeting Mike, and we hit it off as well too.
Nice.
And we just kind of been just freaking.
I think
keeping
that's
off the list.
I think that's one of the best ways that I've seen, like, when I see people get together for the right type of reasons, when you don't depend on each other, everybody offers
Yeah, something.
their part.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, because that's one of the biggest things that I've seen in just like when friends are doing businesses and things like that. One person's doing more than the other or expects more than the other. You guys already had your own things going in.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's when I feel like partnerships and things like that work out, because yeah, us together are a super team, but I don't depend on you and you don't depend on me. As long as we're all working together, we're going to be all right. You know what I mean? Because everybody brings in their own expertise to the point, or the business side, the
their
paperwork,
own
the money.
taste or flavor
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And then, you know, being so educated and you already have a experience doing that and coming over and getting to know these guys when it made sense. I love hearing stories like that. That's like the whole reason I love having these podcasts, because I love hearing people's journeys, how they cross paths, you know, what made sense. So, you know, people can learn from that. One of the biggest things that I always tell people on these pods is that I hope whenever you guys listen to this, you guys get a good laugh, first of all. Second of all, you learn something and you get to see how things are built. You know, like not everything just built over a couple days or a year. You know, this is years of planning and talking. And then when it made sense, you guys crossed paths. You were on a road, you guys were on a road, and you guys crossed paths, and it made sense.
Yeah.
And I love I love hearing shit like that.
It all kind of just fell in.
Yeah,
Like,
it
really?
did. Yeah, it really did.
Right?
Think about it,
I always, it's cliche. You know, everything happens for a reason. I really do. If you have good intentions to do something well, and, you know, and you're doing it because you're passionate and you like doing it, in the long run, it's going to pay off for you. I'm not saying it's going to pay off money wise or whatever, but if you feel fulfilled doing something, you know what I mean? And you're doing it because you feel like you want to do that and pursuing it, I respect the fuck out of that. You know, so with all that being said, you know, I got a couple more bullet points for you guys, you know, things that I feel like I'm interested in, people would want to hear. You're like, so where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years? Like, what are plans? Like, what do you, you know, what do you guys see that in the near, what about a year? What about?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, when we first started, I mean, we did put a business plan together.
There you go.
And so it had us pretty much struggling, drowning ourselves for 2 years.
Nice.
Obviously, we're not even in the first year.
Yeah.
We are definitely underwater.
Yeah.
So, but we expected it, right?
Yeah.
So you should expect something like that. You just can't get into business and then just
Make it
and
million.
you're
Yeah.
just walking around with your chest popped out. Right?
Yeah.
You can't do
Cannabis
that.
is one of those industries where if you get there first, you have like a greater chance of making it, you know, making it long term.
Yeah.
We had a few issues opening, you know, for different factors, but it kind of it did affect us a little tiny bit, you know, coming in 2 years after.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the boom, right?
Yeah.
You guys came in after the boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys came in when it was settled.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
When
that's kind of
settling down. Yeah.
that's kind of more of a benefit because you have more an ideal. So imagine going
More
in.
realistic.
Yeah,
I guess.
you come in the first year making all this money, expecting the next 2-3 years to be the same, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
you close the doors.
And that probably happened to
A lot of people.
Many people,
Yeah.
I would assume, because you go. I mean, you've watched Shark Tank
Yeah.
before, and you say, "Well, what'd you do last year? What'd you do this year?
Yeah.
What are you expecting to do next year?" Well, they would go with those numbers from last year, and they would go and purchase a whole bunch of stuff to maybe increase production or whatnot, and fail because they just overspent.
Yeah.
So in the next 5 years, we definitely we want to tread lightly. I think what we're doing here, we wanted to focus more on our product to grow, you know, and getting a good product, tweaking in our rooms. We're still doing that. It's getting better with each harvest.
Nice.
And obviously this small dispensary wanted to be able to open up, and have people come in and say, you know, okay, hey, Groth Industries. Yes, I definitely, I've seen their building, their grow area. They have a dispensary there, and I love their product.
There you
right?
go.
You know what I mean? We obviously have selections of other products here. A lot of products that you probably can't get across the street or something. We go from, you know, I think we've gotten place from Ruidoso,
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
What I mean?
Yeah, we try to bring in a lot of exotic. We try to bring in a lot of exotic product
Yeah.
that they don't have around here.
Yeah.
Couch Flock, we try and pick
Yeah.
a lot of their limited drops.
Nice.
Yeah, Angel's real good about that. Anytime there's a limited drop, you know, he picks that up right away. So
Nice.
we'll kind of be one of the only ones that will have that limited drop in Chaparral.
That's
So it's
dope.
like if you want the Couch Flock,
You got to come here.
us.
Yeah. I like when you have that ability to, because obviously there's a million products out there, right?
Yeah.
So when you start working with products that have a good background and have good branding, and then you can lock in and just, hey,
It's also making sure you have like those relationships with these
Yes.
vendors.
yes, because like I don't want to fucking sell to you guys.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
I can say no. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Exactly.
you end up, kind of rubbing them the wrong way, they're
Yeah.
not gonna answer you.
Yeah.
And if that product did well in your store, that product's no longer gonna be on your shelf
Yeah.
because you did, you
You did 'em wrong or
you did
something.
them wrong
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So
And that's another thing. So like, that's another thing that we in the you said where are we gonna be at in 5 years?
Yeah.
I do see a lot of
Yeah.
collabs with
Collaborations.
absolutely, with a lot of our
That's cool because that
brands.
makes sense. Like, hey, we can get your guys' product and we can grow it here. Or
Yeah.
is that something that would
Exactly.
make sense?
I think,
so it would be
I think it's a
kind-
must, really.
yeah, no, definitely. So there's a few different brands that we have our eye on that have our eye on that we want to do a collab with, like hash rolls. So for instance, we would grow the products, maybe they would wash our rosin,
Yeah.
and they would roll the hash rolls for us.
Yeah.
So it would be grown by us, manufactured by them.
Nice.
Type deal.
Nice.
So that's kind of like a collab that something that we're looking to do.
Nice. I love hearing, like, I didn't know that was even such a thing, but that does make sense. You know what I mean? We have the facility. We show you what we can grow,
Yeah.
the cream of the crop kind of things. So if we're gonna grow it for you, you guys know it's gonna be top.
Yeah, so the cannabis industry is broken into 3 tiers, right? So you've got your cultivation, you've got your manufacturing, you've got your retail, right?
Consumption.
Oh,
Well,
Right? That's one of the most important ones too.
that is right. So, but as far as the business is concerned, right? So cultivation, we'll do it all here. Our license will provide all, right? So going back to the 5-year plan, right? Yes, we do want to do collabs, right? It's a big push on branding.
Yeah.
The good thing about New Mexico is that our product right here sitting in this mason jar, it's sell it deli style. In Washington, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So you have to buy. You're basically trusting the brand, and you can't see it. Maybe they'll have some see-through bags, but a lot of it is branded closed, right? So you got to trust that brand.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
know
because
you're
everything's
gonna buy
sealed.
right.
it, right? And you're gonna buy it and say, I already know this brand, right?
Yeah.
So branding is a huge part of it. So the collaborations that we're doing is with other brands. That's going to familiarize in anyone else, right? I've never had Groth Industries product.
Yeah.
but I've had Couch Lock.
Yeah.
So if we collab with them, they're going to see our name and with a familiar product that they have.
Yeah.
Oh, what's Groth Industries?
Yeah.
Let's give that a shot. You know what I
Nice.
mean? That's going to kind of help out.
It helps everybody.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I always feel like a win-win,
everybody,
right?
yeah.
If it makes sense for everybody to win in their own ways, obviously some people have more pull than the other in the collaboration. But
Sure.
if it makes sense, like I work with fighters and gyms all the time. I'm like, I can do this or I can do that, or like it's a win-win as long as we can both win and benefit from it. Like I don't feel like nobody's like pulling more than the other, and it makes sense. Then hell yeah, like hearing shit like that, and if you guys get the opportunity to do that's gonna be dope. You know what I mean? Because we talked about it here in the lobby, and in a year or so, you know what I mean? your fucking logo is gonna be on a bunch of different products.
Right, and
That's the plan.
That's where we want to be. Right.
Yeah.
And right now we're in
Definitely wanna
about
be there.
4 or 5 different dispensaries.
Yeah.
We are, yeah, in the area. We've got Sunland Park. We're in Las Cruces. We do have our product in other dispensaries here in Chaparral.
Nice.
Yep.
Where you would kind of think you're giving your own product to your competition.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. We're giving a quality product.
Yeah.
To someone else in the industry that
Yeah.
we work with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The same thing like you guys buying from somebody else. Same
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now we're only doing like flour and pre-rolls,
Eventually we'll be
which we
doing-
package ourselves and we manufacture here. But we just put in a lab. We've got 3 labs that will be doing extracts. And
We'll be doing solventless rosin extracts. We also will be have an all male facility for pollen, and then we'll have a full breeding facility.
Yeah, and that's perfect. That kind of leads me up to my next point. Like how are you guys gonna expand offerings, events, services, delivery? What are
We'd like to hear from our customers. Yeah, well, what kind of events they'd like
So
us
we
to
had
have.
we had a car show. It was on February 1st. It was a huge event. We
Nice.
actually had
Yeah.
a crazy good turnout.
Huge turnout.
Yeah, we had maybe
it
50
was
exotic
massive
cars.
turnout.
Like I'm talking about Ferraris. We had
Nice.
Lamborghinis here,
Everything.
M3s. Just
they drove down the dirt road? They're all
It's paid.
This one's paid.
yeah, that's
But it was a crazy turnout. We had a whole bunch of vendors come. We had an Iron Lung. Or no, actually, you know what? They actually didn't show up. We had Headspace. We had Diablo Buds,
Yeah.
SWDG Farms, Don Verde. Yeah, we had a whole bunch of companies pull up, and they had their little pop-ups. It was a super
That's
cool
dope.
event. Food trucks.
Nice.
Probably had
I know
maybe
because you guys do have a big area. For a
Big
lot of people that
lot.
don't know, like it's just not a small little mobile home or a small little shop, corner shop. You guys have like a good corner of this whole piece of land, right?
Well, yeah.
Because I mean,
the
it's a
5
big
acre,
facility.
yeah.
This, like what you guys are seeing right here, is just a small percentage of the whole facility.
Yeah, it's like a,
It's a 5,000 square
yeah.
foot building.
Damn.
Yeah, you got 5,000 square feet
on,
here.
on 5 acres. So
Yeah.
that goes again with where are we going?
Yeah,
How-
because you guys have the
We
room to
want to
expand.
Yes,
grow.
absolutely.
And the license.
we do have
Yeah.
the license to do it. So
The vertically integrated license. Like as he was mentioning, we can manufacture, we can grow, and we can retail. But it's also a commercial license, so we're not a micro facility.
Nice.
Right.
Micro facility, you're
I mean,
limited to. At the moment, we're operating as one.
Yeah.
We have 200 plants.
Right.
But we have the license to be able
Yeah.
to expand.
Yes.
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean,
won't-
you guys
we
are
won't
just
be able to
starting.
treat-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's
Just
the thing
started,
too.
yeah.
And I love hearing that kind of stuff because a lot of people always get like, well, they're only doing that. It's like, it's only the fucking start.
Yeah,
you
we
know what I mean?
just started.
You know, it's only the
It's just
fucking
the
start.
tip, bro.
Yeah, just the tip.
Just
Just
calm
the
down.
tip.
we got
Calm
a
down.
5 acre lot.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to be bare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll grow as we grow.
Yeah.
Right? So
There you
Agree.
go. Hey, the dad jokes are for me, not for you guys. That's what I'm saying. That's dope, man. You know, one last thing I just want to say. What are and probably more for you, Mark. You know, what are the trends that you're noticing in the cannabis space, and what are you excited about the most?
So I see everybody now is kind of starting to lean more towards rosin. It's kind of like the California market. I like to look at the California market because it's already a mature market. You can kind of see what's going to happen in your state, kind of looking at California. Give or
Kinda.
take. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, but
yeah, the trends,
yeah.
what people like.
Yeah.
So in California, you start to see everybody like kind of go after rosin. That's what people are like. That's what they love. They love rosin and the flavor. Everything.
And what's rosin, real quick,
So
for
rosin
somebody
is
who?
a solventless extract. So basically, you get your flower and you can do a cold. You wash your flower. So it's fresh frozen. Right when you harvest it, you freeze it right away.
What?
And then you wash it in RO water and RO ice. So basically, you mix. You're agitating the flower to get the trichomes to fall off. So once the trichomes fall off, you filter it through different micron screens, and then you put it in a freeze dryer, and then you press it with the hydraulic press.
And that's
And then you get the extract.
Oh,
It's so much, dude. You get like a 3% yield, and that's like really good.
Yeah.
A 3% yield.
golden.
But
tooth.
it's,
Yeah,
but it's
that's good. Yeah.
stuff.
so you think about that too, like
The
3.
taste is phenomenal.
You
Yeah,
know,
it tastes
and that's the thing
absolutely.
too, is like going back to you guys, the specialty and the quality. You know what I mean? Because a lot of person who's gonna grow a plant, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking just squeeze it and get that much out of it.
Yeah, dude.
But
You know
that little bit is like,
yeah, exactly. But how you were saying, because of the market and what are people looking for?
Yeah, so I see the New Mexico market is starting to kind of go that route too. We started getting a lot more rosin, and it sells, bro. Rosin sells, and it's expensive. It's
Yeah.
$70 a gram.
Yeah.
And I mean, he
Yeah.
just bought a gram just yesterday.
Yeah.
yeah,
And how did you like it? It's
awesome. Tastes good, smooth. The high is just chill.
yeah. Terpenes are like
It's
at 5,
just-
6% on rosin. Sometimes. So it's like I see New Mexico really starting to lead into that rosin market. So I'm excited to start like getting some rosin going. Get some
Nice.
strains that will
Yeah,
yield some
yeah.
good rosin and start pressing some good rosin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you excited about, or anything that's going on?
Well, I'm excited for all of it. Really.
Yeah.
I just hope that we can keep on moving in a positive note.
Yeah.
In the cannabis industry. Because there are some stuff out there that's
Challenge.
challenges.
Yeah.
It's definitely against us.
Hurdles.
There you go. Hurdles. Yeah.
The fucking hurdles.
I'm telling you, man. Shout out to my niece. She is a track star,
Yeah, yes.
and she can hit those hurdles. I cannot.
Yeah. With that being said, final thoughts, shout outs, anything coming up? You guys want to talk
Real-
about anything news?
Angel.
Angel.
Here, shout out to this guy. This is our sales manager. He's
Jumping camera, dog.
Come on in.
he's connoisseur.
Right there. Hey, say what's up.
So
Yeah. So you guys are pretty much the main people at this area.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
if somebody walks in the door, you're gonna see.
this is Growth Industries. Right
Yeah.
here.
This is the Four Musketeers. Right here.
There you go.
There you go.
We're a small crew, but
Yeah, we get shit done though.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah. Any shout outs? You guys want to shout anybody out? Anything?
I want to go ahead. You first. Oh, I want to shout out to the construction team that made this whole facility
Oh,
term.
sure. I mean, yeah. I mean,
Shout out to everybody that participated with all of our contractors, including um, uh, the Compost Brothers, um, the Chaparral Holding Crew, and Chaparral Wireless. All the people out here that has made this.
Takes a village, man. I always
For
tell
real,
people.
yeah.
it does, definitely does. You're not gonna do this with you know what I mean.
Shout
You're not
out
gonna put
to
something
New
like
Mexico
this together
Boring.
with a
They
skeleton
did
crew,
Yeah.
that's
a
for
lot
sure.
too. So I mean, there was a lot of people that put this in. Patrick, shout out to Patrick.
Yeah, shout out.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
He's hanging in there with all of our complaining when we have the air conditioners and issues. He comes right away, fixes your problems instantaneously, so that you don't have those kind of issues. But so, and a shout out to all of our friends out there to GT Therapy, Pyramid, Astro Buzz, Richie Rich. Richie Rich is going to be right down here on the corner. We'll be in also in his store as well. So it's gonna be really cool.
That's dope.
Area 54. Yep, they
Yeah,
just
they're
opened
out
up
there.
right up out here.
And I love that you guys are shouting out other, like, obviously, like, there's a lot of people doing the same thing, but
Sure.
it doesn't mean that we all can't win.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
There's
one thing
enough
that
out there for everybody.
Yeah, there's
Everybody.
enough. Like, we could all be cool. We don't have to be best of friends and shit like that.
Hey,
Hey,
things work better.
Yeah.
Things just work
Yeah.
better if we're all friends and we
Yeah.
all work together.
Yeah.
If everybody's hating on each other, everybody starts to lose.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's not even worth it.
because that's one thing that I've always learned, like, just doing content and stuff. Like, I know who, like, there's a lot of creators and a lot of other podcasters. Shout out to all the podcasts that shout me out, and I shout out them. Broman Row, A-Town, Buzz Podcast, freaking Takeover Show. There's a lot of the guys, and we all help each other out. Just because we're all doing the same thing doesn't mean we all can't win, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You always say that somebody would say like the book Art of War is based on business, you know, or it's not based on business, but you could base business on that book.
You can use a
Sure.
lot of it.
Can business be cut through? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I think it's a lot easier if you get along with the people that's working alongside you
Yeah.
in the same industry, right?
Yeah.
Why not? There are definitely that pie can be cut so many times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can all eat.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're at. And
Yeah.
that's where we want to
Yeah,
be.
because there'd be times that, like, and I can only relate to, like, you know, like playing hockey and then, you know, doing all the MMA stuff. It's just like, hey, I might not be able to do it, but so and so can.
Sure.
So and so can't do it, but they can. And everybody's like, hey, I don't have these time and dates. I can't, but this facility, they can hold your tournament. Or, hey, we're gonna have,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
that's how it should be. You know, just because that doesn't mean I'm losing out on opportunity. I'm giving somebody an opportunity because it makes sense, and I want to help them out, and it's a win-win.
And then they'll turn around
And they'll
help
turn
you
around like,
out
yeah, I
down the
remember
way,
Matt said this one time, and he shot him my way, or, you know, like, and I like that, like, being able to understand, like, hey, I don't need you, and you don't need me, but we work together, we're all gonna fucking win. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
I love that. You know what I mean? But, you know, with that being said, anything you guys want to say before we get out of here, man?
No, I think it, you know. Hey, Jimmy, thanks for coming.
Hey,
out.
man, I
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
you, dog, man.
Good
I
to see you again.
Yeah,
I don't get
man.
to see you very often.
yeah, man.
So,
Like, I know that we've been wanting to do this for a while, and it made sense now, so it was dope. And I'm glad you guys had me come out here and kind of check out the area a little bit from before. But sitting down and talking to you guys about the actual business side, how it all started, you know, Mark going off on all the fucking scientific should blow my mind, man.
right.
But it's cool because that's how you guys are serious, you guys. And I respect, you know, all jokes aside, I respect what you guys are doing, because, like, it's not easy just to start a business, let alone in this industry, let alone to be successful, let alone to know that you're not going to be successful for a while, and you guys are still wanting to do it.
You have to understand that.
Yeah.
You're not going to come out of the gate and buy a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Nope.
I probably won't be able to afford a Ferrari 5 years from now.
Right?
Do I want to? Yeah.
Yeah. You got that S2000 still?
I do. That's my Ferrari.
Hell yeah.
I'm paid for.
Hell yeah. Low mileage.
Not really.
Not anymore.
Gas mileage.
Right? But yeah, man, thank you guys for having me out, man. Again, Matt,
Got it.
Mark, Mike, thank
it.
you guys, man. Groth Industries. What's the address, real quick, for you guys?
140 Schneeberger, Chaparral, Mexico.
There you go. Instagram.
Groth.industries.
There you go, man. Make sure you guys go check them out. They're going to be posting more stuff. I'm going to be working with them on that. You guys, like, the stuff that's going on in the back is what people need to know about. And I feel like that's going to separate you guys apart, because the time and the effort that you guys are putting into it, I think people will respect that more and more because they can see the quality that's going into just not just growing a plant and just rolling it up and somebody buying it.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though it sounds
Plant
so
a
simple,
seed,
that's what's happening.
You know,
But
plant
there's a
a
lot
seed
more
and
going on.
water it. No, there's a lot more than
Man,
that.
he was
for
telling
sure.
about ladybugs and fucking oh dude, fucking
Praying
blew my mind.
mantises.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
Man. Hell yeah. But make sure you guys keep up with the new rebranding Jimmy Duke's podcast here on YouTube, the main channel, on Spotify, on iTunes, on iHeart, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, Jimmy Duke's podcast. But once again, thank you guys, man. Make sure you guys drop a comment, say what's up, go follow them on Instagram, see what's going on, man. But thank you guys so much for
Hey, come by.
Yeah,
Yeah,
come by. Like, dude, they have a lot of cool stuff here too. And
I get a penny pre-roll.
there you go.
You know, if you haven't been here
Yeah,
before,
scan that thing right here. I just saw that shit.
it's right there. You know what I mean? So penny pre-roll, if it's your first time, we got point system as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So we do our point systems it's a point dollar per point.
Nice.
So we give a point for every.
Yeah, and then you guys are getting quality stuff. You're gonna get a lot of points, and you're gonna be able to get that shit right back.
Exactly.
Yep.
And definitely. So, and there's, you know, we obviously want you to buy our product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're going to stand behind that, but we also stand behind the
Yeah, we
products
offer
that
a lot
from
of-
other places. That
Yeah,
we
you
have.
wouldn't put something out front just
We wouldn't.
because.
Yeah. Everybody here.
Everything
all-
is chosen like very strategically.
Nice.
We're not
Yes.
just buying product just to buy product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Stop
Love
by. We're off the beaten path just a little bit.
Yeah, I do see the
But,
signs though.
Yeah.
I do the
See,
signs.
yeah,
When
that's
I was
the
driving
hardest
up, I
part.
do see the signs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do see the
The
signs
signs,
because
yeah.
they're a little bit off of the main road. But I mean, once you see the facility, you're gonna see the facility.
Yeah.
And if your coworker drives by your manager, they're not going to see you parked here because we're not on the main drag.
That's right.
There you go.
So if you want to be a little hidden off the road
There you go.
and,
There you
and
go.
get your midnight snack,
They got you guys.
you got it. We
What
got
are what are the hours here? Just so somebody who wants to come by, what are the hours?
So our hours right now, we got we're closed on Sundays, Monday Monday through Thursday. Wait,
Monday, Friday, Saturday, we're 8
12 to 7, Tuesday through Thursday, and then Friday.
And hopefully,
Saturday, 2 to 8.
you guys can help us move a little bit more forward where we can stay open longer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 'cause
yeah.
it only makes sense to have the storefront open because there's a lot of stuff going in the back.
There
Yes.
is a lot.
Yeah, it's not a corner store. Like
Right.
a lot of places are. Nothing against them. It's just like there's nothing on in the background. All the products up front.
And they'll be open for 14 hours a
Yeah.
day, sometimes
24
24
hours,
hours.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can get there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
if we wanted to be there.
yeah, but you guys are focusing on the quality.
Yeah,
in the
we
back.
are
You know what I
focusing
mean?
on that a little bit more. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you guys once again, man.
Got it.
Thank you guys
Thanks.
so much for your time.
Mr. Dude.
Yeah, man. You
Yeah.
guys are amazing. Make sure you guys check them out. Keep checking out the podcasts, all the previous ones and the upcoming future ones. We're looking for sponsors. Anybody want to sponsor an episode or the actual podcast? Make sure you guys hit me up. Until next time, peace out, homies. Y'all take care. Peace.